You know we be with it, we off in the hood like some wizards. Nobody ever gave us anything. Made something from nothing, just like magicians. Gotta relearn everything. Just to remember that I was forgetting. Just to remember that we had a vision. Did it all, don't know how I did it. Time to go start season to go and you know those crystal truths. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Start season to go and you know those crystal truths. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we know the vision. Start season to go and you know those crystal truths. Let them know we in here, yeah, we in the building. Start season to go and you know those crystal truths. Back up in the matrix, yeah, we know the vision. Off on the mission, you know how it goes. Off in the system, they turn up their nose. They took all the soil, but they didn't know. Through the concrete, you see the roads. Eyes ain't open, don't mean I ain't woke. Ain't got no cash, don't mean that I'm broke.
Welcome in, soul family. Letiu she no to u. Bale e ku ate na da na u shene ti sheno to ku u shena tai. Bolu shi la tadim na hi se no taki shuluku ata a. You get to sit at the seat of your highest self. You can call that your soul or the spirit. You can even call it sitting with the one true creator. And take what resonates and leave what doesn't. We're here to be the vessels to share with you the experience and expression of the one true creator through Ra. Not to make you believe it, not to make you sit down and you've got to believe that, otherwise you're gonna go to hell. That's not it. Not to make you change, to allow you to have information to change if you so desire. Not to see it one specific way, but tap into the unmeasurable ways to ascend into the beingness of the divine. My words are stumbling because the words that I want to use are not necessarily the words that the divine is using. And the divine is coming in and saying, no, use this word. And I'm just going to let it flow. That's what we're here to do. We're here to flow in to the depths of the unknown. It's not up there. It's not out there. It's within. As Marcus has always said, know thyself. Tap into yourself to know you better. Then you'll be able to extend you to others. And they greet you as you wish to be greeted. Are you ready? I'm ready. We're at episode Okay, are you ready? Are you, don't fall off your seat. 65. 65. Is there a drum roll? 65, book 3, page 94. Yes, yes, and yes. Right? Mm-mm. Over to you, Marcus.
Man, I just gotta say, thank you. Thank you to this space. I don't think I've ever said this before, but thank you to this space and all that comes with this space, as in the creator that allows it to be, the container and its cultivation of all of us together, and to myself, to our co-host, Sandy. Thank you to all of us together as one, putting this together in this assimilated time matrix of the third density, or I should say third dimension, that is, of the first density. I gotta say that it's been a wonderful journey, and I just I'd like to open us up with a card from Lemuria, our Lemurian ancestors beyond Lemuria. So Lemuria is an ancient civilization, for those of us that are not aware, and it is related to the time of Atlantis as well. And it was a civilization parallel to Atlantis on the Earth. And this civilization was more spiritual based. It was more about energy, spirit, connection, and flow. Where Atlantis was a little bit more about, progressiveness. It was advancement. It was all, with technology and all different things. And as we learned throughout Emerald Tablets and other stuff, and this is something that's been a pattern cycle in different civilizations and planets, is obtaining one's amount of power and then getting consumed by that power into self-righteousness. And then that self-righteousness brings us out to the threshold of duality, to where we have to extreme out into the other polarity. And that's where a sinking takes place, or a destruction takes place, is when we go a little bit too out of the balance. So then the other side has to get us to come back, but we're all the way over here, and then we hit that threshold and basically return back to 0 point. And that returning back to 0 point is the destruction. And then from 0 point, we rebuild as human beings, and we look forward to creating the next civilization. And just as we've done, we've created many. Egypt, Greece, the Mayans, the Aztecs, ancient India, Japan, all these different cultures throughout time. And here we are today. So this Lemurian deck, I love this deck. The artwork is beautiful. And this has chakra cards as well as other activations in it as well. The card we have today is number 44, and it is Shine Your Light. So I'm not even going to open the book. I'm just going to spit it right out of spirit for you. And what spirit has through me today is where are we maybe being afraid of taking the next step in our life? Where are we maybe afraid of stepping into that new way of life? Whether it's our gifts of service, it's our creative artistic expression. Maybe it's that conversation that you've been needing to really have with that person close to you, but you've been bypassing it. Maybe also it's I don't fit in. I don't think this will be successful, and what it is that I have to say or what it is I have to share. Are we going through any of those patterns right now in our life? And if so, where could we maybe start working out of those patterns? Is there a certain way that we could practice using our voice? Is there a way that we can maybe start writing down and coming up with different constructive ways to start opening ourselves up into speaking and shining our light more in this world? Is there maybe a art or expression form that we could use just a little bit of practice with to get ourselves feeling more confident before presenting or sharing our gifts for service? So with that, I just remind us of our holistic tool belt, and to remember our practices, our routines, to try new things if we feel called, and to remember that ultimately the vibration that we are in, the present state of the reality that we're experiencing, it's going to boil down to, what am I doing with my mind, body, and emotions? And oftentimes we may find that, we're the ones that are keeping us from shining our own light because of these many different reasons in this world. And remember that all of these reasons that I named, plus many more, are all valid experiences, valid reasons not to shine your light, valid reasons to feel like you can't or that you're not going to be wanted. So I also am going to trust, and I'm going to be open to allowing this session here, episode 65 with Ra, to be a way of bringing medicine as well as bringing clarity to my being in how I can shine my light a little bit more into this world. And I invite the rest of us to maybe tune in and see if myself, Sandy, Ra, we bring those answers that you can need delivered today to help you shine your light a little bit more in this world. So that is our card from the Lemurian deck, Shine Your Light, number 44. Feel free to grab your journal. Journal throughout this session as well. Deep dive and reflect with us as we continue book 3 of the Raw Material Law of One. Back to you, Sandy.
Shine your light. I was listening to a song this morning from Beautiful Chorus. That's the title. It's a version of This Little Light of Mine. This little light of mine Used to be so scared to shine. When mine met yours, it would run and hide. But since then, and I'm quoting it because, you know, I just listen to it and I go into a meditative state. I'd love to play it for you, but we got some music going on already that's good for your soul. But it basically says, when mine met yours, it would run and hide. Because I wanted to shine less because yours was shining too bright. And you made me feel inferior, that I couldn't shine bright. Until one day I figured out that the reason why I wanted to shine is to make the whole world smile. That's what I was called here to do. I can't do it if I'm not shining. I can't do it if I'm not growing. I can't do it if I'm not expanding. Life is about you taking all the gifts that are within you and deciding which ones are going to fit for the journey that you're on, and then shine. Shine. I finally get that passage in the Bible that they pray, the prayer that they do, that they used to teach us to pray at night. Let heaven be on earth. Let it be so as in heaven, so it is on earth. The moment that you came into the womb of your mother and was birthed into this dimension, you brought all of the realm of the divine with you, all of heaven, if that's what you want to call it, and it shined until somebody told you don't shine, until somebody told you don't be big, until somebody told you don't be cosmic, because that's confusing. In the meanwhile, they get to be big. They get to shine. They get to be whatever their cosmic is, even if it's just moving in a straight line. I can't tell you not to dim your shine. Well, wait a minute. I can tell you to dim your shine, but you take what resonates and leave what doesn't. If it doesn't feel good to shine, don't do it. This little light of mine was too scared to shine. When mine met yours, it would run and hide. Growth and expansion was what we came here to do. Shifting and evolving, then washing, rinsing, and repeat. This is all that Ra is giving you. Ra is giving you little taste of tidbits of the cheat codes and saying, I'm giving you enough, just enough, so that I don't usurp your free will to make a choice to do it or not. And then grow and expand. Because the way we did it, that was millennia ago. And guess what? The only thing that we were promised is that there would always, makes me want to cry, always be change. There would always be infinite possibilities for you to see how to change through platforms that have already experienced the growth and the evolution. That's what your dreams are about. That's what your daydreams are about. That's what the astral plane is about. That's what going back into your past and reviewing it and discerning it and then saying, ooh, I can do it differently this time. Maybe. I can shine my light a little bit brighter this time. You don't have to wait till you die and come back to do it again. You get to transition through those conscious 4D consciousness and 5D consciousness and 144D consciousness. You get to do it in this now moment. And that's what we're here to do. So are you ready? I'm ready. Are you ready, Marcus? Can I begin? Okay.
Yes, please begin.
So the questioner says, and then read the customer. Welcome, divine words of wisdom. Hello, glorious one. Ra said, I am Ra. The planetary influences from which those of Mars experience memory have some effect upon the third density physical body complexes. This race has given its genetic material to many bodies upon your planet or your plane. So the questioner asks, well, thank you. Ra mentioned the ones, and then they have it where you can put the names in there in past sessions. Past sessions mean either sessions in this book or the last two that we have read. Right? These are members of what we call our medical, hold on, make sure my pages aren't sticking, profession. What is the value of modern medical techniques in alleviating bodily distortions with respect to the purpose for these distortions and what we might call karma? Pretty good question to start with, right? Let's keep going. This query is convoluted. However, we shall make some observation in lieu of attempting one coherent answer. For that which is allopathic or allopathic, there we go, among your healing practices is somewhat two-sided. I am Ra. Firstly, you must see the possibility/probability, and that's the way it's written, possibility/probability, that each and every allopathic healer is in fact a healer. Within your culture nexus, this training is considered the appropriate means of perfecting the healing ability. In the most basic sense, any allopathic healer may be seen to perhaps be one of whose desire is service to others and alleviation of bodily complex and mental/emotional complex distortions, so that the entity be healed, to be healed may experience further catalysts over a longer period of what you call the life. This is a great service to others when appropriate, due to the acclimation of distortions towards wisdom and love, which can be created through the use of the space/time continuum of your illusion. Rog continues to say, in observing the allopathic concept of the body complex as a machine, we may note this, the symptomology of the societal complex seemingly dedicated to the most intransit desire for the distortion of distraction, anonymity, and sleep. This is the result rather than the cause of societal thinking upon your plane. In turn, this mechanical concept of the body complex has created the continuing proliferation of distortions towards what you might call ill health. Due to the strong chemicals used to control and hide body distortions, there is a realization among many of your people that there are more efficacious systems. I'm going to spell this word because I just tore it up. EFFICACIOUS systems of healing, not including the allopathic, but also including the many other avenues of healing. So while we complain, or while we put down one method of healing, Ra is saying all of it is a path. Because it was somebody's desire or intention to serve others to help them ease their suffering or their pain, or maybe even they thought about healing processes. And they brought it, they intended it. Intention plus energy creates something. How another person uses it with their faith or their belief that they're going to be healed through it, that's a totally different subject. How other people use it to turn it around to service to self and make money off of, and we'll just say it, big pharma, and make money. That's a whole different story. Doesn't make it wrong or right. It makes it a possibility of what you get to choose and why you get to choose it. But the information that I got that the divine wants you to know is it was someone wanting to service others with the intention of alleviating pain or help heal individuals and their body. It's not a either or, it's what you choose. Not an either or. It's what somebody chooses. If somebody chooses total man-made medicine to heal themselves, and they have the vibrational belief that that's going to heal them, whether it's a placebo or not, their inner energy is going to write the story on that pill, on that medicine. It's a choice. It's growth, it's expansion, it's evolution. You want to be you want to transform, but you want to transform things that are already transformed, that are easy breezy. You don't want to step out of your comfort zone and go, oh, let me transform a story that somebody's given me that's not for my highest and greatest good. Let me go ahead and transform that. Let me go ahead and become an alchemizer. You really want to alchemize some fire. Sometimes you got to step inside the fire to alchemize it. I'm telling you, I've been through it. Every time I take a pill for my healing, whether it's whether it's man-made or whether it's earthly made, Mother Gaia made. I have to put the story in there of what I want it to do. I have to alchemize it. I have to give my body permission to recall that it is an alchemizer. Whatever goes in my body, it's going to alchemize it. The questioner says, let's assume that a bodily distortion occurs within a particular entity who has a choice of seeking allopathic aid, or, and I say that word that way because it's spelled ALLOPATHIC, allopathic aid, or experiencing the catalyst of the distortion and not seeking correction of the distortion. Can you comment on this, on the two possibilities of this entity and his analysis of each path? I am Ra. If the entity is polarized towards service to others, analysis properly proceeds along the lines of consideration of which path others the most opportunity for service to others. For the negatively polarized entity, the antithesis of this case, for the unpolarized entity, the consideration of random and most likely in the direction of the distortion towards comfort. One more question, one more answer, and then we're going to go back to Marcus, because I know he's like, ooh, we're about to deep dive. Questioner says, I understand, and they put the word name in a bracket. So they named a person at that particular time. Brought a four-toed Bigfoot cast by here the other day. Could you tell me which form of Bigfoot that cast was? Wow, that's a shift. Ra says, I am Ra. We can. Questioner says, I know that it is totally unimportant, but as a service to whoever the person was, I thought I should ask about that. I am Ra. This entity was one of a small group of the thought forms. The questioner said. He also asked, I know this is also unimportant, why there are no Bigfoot remains found after the entities have died on our surface. Could you answer this? I know this is of no importance, but as a service to him, I ask. I am Ra. You suggest that the exploration of the caves, which underlie some of the western coastal mountain regions of your continent, will one day offer such remains. They will not be generally understood if this culture survives in its present form long enough in your time measurement for the probability/possibility vortex to occur. There is enough energy for one more full query at this time. And that's where we're going to go back to Marcus.
What a way to kick off. You know, what's very interesting is one of the very first things that you had mentioned in this reading was about the good old karma. And something I find pretty intriguing.
What a way.
Is that
we're spinning. Oh, we're back.
Oh, yeah. So what I was saying was, you know, I find it very intriguing that there just always seems to be these parallels happening in these episodes and in other things going on in life, of course. And it's funny because today I talked about, on my episode of Grand Rising with Christo, I talked about the pink flame and the magenta violet order, also known as the amethyst order. And part of what this order contains in the Law of One has to do with the Karmic Council boards. Now, there is also another
You spun
name.
out.
Oh. Am I good?
And I was spinning in and out as well.
Am I good?
You're there, but I don't see, when you talk, I don't see your lips move. We're in a whole different dimension, baby.
All right. Am I good now? Can you hear me?
I think we just astral travel. Yes.
Sounds like it. But yeah, so today we studied the pink flame, which is also tied in with the amethyst order, connected to the violet flame. And what's interesting is that there is a connection within this order, this flame, so to say, of beings. And part of what they do is they help with the karmic board. So we have a karmic council of intergalactic beings that have came together to help guide us, and not just us, but anybody that incarnates into these lower densities of ignorance. They create these councils, and it's also known as the Intergalactic Free World Councils. And basically these councils of beings, they act as guardians and guides to help steer our consciousness towards the light. If we start to go deep into our fallen matrix, into our phantom shadow underworld, so to say. And that has to do with our karma. The more karma you have, the more you're being anchored down into the underworld of yourself. So what these karmic councils are guardians and guides that help send in different sound and light frequency into this dimension for us. And it translates into the different forms that it represents through. And some of these different guides and beings that you can connect with that come into form for our senses is guides like Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin is a ascended master of the pink ray, and she helps with karma. She helps us access grace within ourselves. She helps us access forgiveness within ourselves and mercy within ourselves. So when you think about that, those kind of attributes, when we take more of that into ourselves and into our own consciousness, that helps us be relieved from this karmic energy that we have created on our own self, by giving our own self grace, by giving our own self mercy through the mirroring of a Kuan Yin figure. Mary Magdalene's another example. And then if you want to step into the amethyst and violet side of it, outside the pink ray, you have the more masculine energy, which is the violet. And that you can connect with Saint Germain of the Violet Flame, Lady Portia, as well as Archangel Zadkiel. And Isis is also a part of this kind of council as well. So when you think about these figures, and we hear them all throughout our history, and we hear about their prominence in the way that they are ingrained within our human psyche, such as Isis, Kuan Yin, Saint Germain, Mary Magdalene, they all are a part of helping us release our karmic energy. And what this pink flame and amethyst order also represents as the octaves of the creator force is the feminine aspect. And when I say the feminine aspect, it is the rays that helps us access compassion, forgiveness, nurturing, affection, unconditional love through our human journey, so that we can have this feminine presence that is able to help soften, help us heal, help us regenerate as we go through our experiences and as we go through our human moments. And that's what this Karmic Council and the pink flame and the violet energy represents for us, is that compassion, love, being able to let go, having mercy, and having grace while going through the experiences of the will of God as an individual being of the mother and father. So I just wanted to share that regarding karma, and that there are beings that you can intergalactically connect with to help with learning how to deal with your karmic energy on an accountable and sovereign level. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave it there, and I'll hand it back to Sandy. Let that process.
Wonderful. Free will. Free will. We get to make a choice. Choices lead to intentions. I bet you, the first doctor that ever came on the scene was someone who watched their loved one suffer and die. And then they said, I don't want that to happen anymore. I'm going to research. I'm going to find out how I can service others so that they don't have to go through this. An intention to service others. Like Ross says, you have service to self, the negative polarity, and service to others, the positive polarity. Why? Because you're part of the others. So as long as you're serving others, you know beyond a shadow of no doubts that you're always taken care of, that the universe has got your back. But when you're servicing self, i.e., we'll just use the big pharma, and I'm only repeating what I've heard, that big pharma prefer to keep everybody sick so that they can make money on people buying their pharmaceuticals. That's service to self. I just want to make money. But guess what? That was a choice that was offered. It's part of the negative polarity that individuals get to dive into and choose. And if they like how that feels, they're going to stick with it. Growth and expansion. It doesn't make the medical industry bad. It makes you have to do your due diligence for yourself to see what's going to be for your highest and greatest good. And get this, what blew my mind is when I read the Divine Design by Lori Ladd. It blew my mind that karma, or the law of karma, is only experienced in third density. Once we start consciously becoming more activated in our conscious level of fourth and fifth and sixth density, and even though we're living in this third density, we get to see things from a different portal, from these eyes, portally tapping into it, that karma isn't something that we have to attribute, that we got to come back and do it all again. That just blew my mind. But you get to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Let's read this. Karma means action, work, or deed. It also refers to the spiritual principle of the law of cause and effect. What you put out is going to come back with an effect. You got to tap into it first because it's coming to you. And then based on your reaction to it, how it spreads, how it proliferates, because everything is the law one, right? Where intent and action of an individual and influence upon the future of the individual. Positive intent and positive deeds help contribute to the positive karma that helps to co-create future happiness. Not just yours, but future happiness of all. I love how he put this up. I love how we're talking about the law of cause and effect, aka known spiritually as karma. There are energetic consequences of a negative karma, yes, because there's a polar, or it's polar. We get to dive into it all. It's called free will. And even our higher beings came in with this free will to choose the positive polarity, as Ra has said, the positive polarity or the negative polarity. And guess what? When I die, if my higher being has chose all positive polarity all through my lifetime, and when I die and my higher being, if my higher being decides to come back and do this again, guess what? It gets to choose what polarity it wants to learn about next. It might not be the positive polarity. It might be, I want to live my life in negative polarity to see what that is and how I can grow and expand through that. It's just a choice. It's just a game. But it feels so real in 3D because why? We have these physical bodies and we have these very conscious and aware minds. Right? Before this clip goes away, I'm going to give it back to Marcus so he can give you his version of it, his spiritual version of it, his guidance through it. One size just doesn't fit all. The size that I learned it through is merging the raw material books with the divine design helped me. But there's maybe some information that he's got that can help you too. And you get to take what resonates and leave the rest. Over to you, Marcus.
Why, thank you. So to continue on with that discussion, I'm going to go ahead and read to you guys word for word the Ascension Glossary definition of the interdimensional free world councils. So this is what I was speaking on just a moment ago when I was talking about the karmic boards and the intergalactic councils that help towards the lower dimensional beings as they go through their polarities, experiences, and karmic free will energy. So the interdimensional free world councils, through recent shifts that have impacted the core morphogenic blueprints and vertical staff alignment in planet Earth, we have direct access through the neutron window, leading to assorted guardian, defender, sentinel groups from the interdimensional free world councils. These guardian groups are from the God worlds and oppose deception. When we say God worlds, it's just speaking on the worlds and dimensions that are outside of our time matrix. Mind control and slavery of all forms, and thus protect spiritual freedom. Recently, the planet has received changes in appointing more guardian defenders and Christic facilitators from the IFWC at every dimensional level of access. They are responsible for the recovery platform, which services the rehabilitation and education towards service to others and teaches basic ascension mechanics. So here it's talking about how I'm not sure what's going on with the Wi-Fi. We're going to be in and out this whole time probably. But yeah, here it's talking about how they rehabilitate and educate towards service to others, and they teach the basic ascension mechanics. So again, they're here to help remind us along the way while we're in this third dimension, as well as the other dimensions, to help us remember our tools, remember who we are, and to remember the power of self connected to the one. And that is what they do as we go through our free will experiences. So then it has the Emerald Order. The Emerald Order are the founders of the interdimensional free world councils as a result of the Paladorian Covenant to ensure that all souls lost in the Phantom Matrix are returned back to the God Source. So then it says the Syrian High Council. The Syrian High Council serves as the administrative body for the Interdimensional Free World Council's task force to maintain freedom-based evolutionary agreements and agendas between all star nations. Pretty fascinating and pretty cool to learn about. And that's why, Sirius has such a profound connection to the Earth, because it acts as like a governor or a parent to this Earth that we're on. And a lot of us that are used to knowing about Sirius, we know about Sirius as a main hub for safety and pure energy and healing for souls throughout this galaxy. A lot of different souls, after either their planetary system or star system has been destroyed or damaged, they'll end up navigating over to Sirius, because Sirius is one of those safe containers in this galaxy for beings to be able to evolve, heal, and become more of their higher self. So it's really interesting when you learn about all this, and you kind of start to see a little bit of the more micro level details of the macro of how it is that our everyday life is functioning. There has to be some type of system or functioning behind how we're all in such an order of life, and that we can have free will and do many different things, but still receive guidance and still receive consciousness and light while still going through our free will. It's a very sophisticated system, of course, but it's a system that can be remembered, it can be learned, it can be embodied, and it can be understood, as everything is meant to be able to be understood in some type of way, even if it takes a little bit of time to process it, and to become fully aware. So I just want to share that and give that perspective for everybody, just to kind of broaden horizon a little bit and see how it is that we're in this time matrix doing what we do so sufficiently, so much and so often, and still have all these things in place keeping us in order and happening. And it's really fascinating. So back to you. Mm.
All right. So the questioner has one more question for exercises. Take the comma, take the pause. When you say examine the sensations of the body, do you mean those sensations available to the body via the five senses, or in relation to the natural functions of the body, such as touching, loving, sexual sharing, and company? Or are you speaking of something else altogether? I am raw. The questioner may perceive its body complex at this moment. It is experiencing sensations. Most of these sensations, or in this case, nearly all of them, are transient and without interest. However, the body is the creature of the mind. Certain sensations carry importance due to the charge or power which it felt by the mind upon the experience of the sensation. For instance, at this space-time nexus, one sensation is carrying a powerful charge and may, I'm going to slow my roll, and may be examined. This is the sensation of what you call distortion towards discomfort due to the cramped position of the body complex during this working. In balancing, you would then explore the sensation. Why is the sensation powerful? Because it was chosen in order that the entity might be of service to others in energizing this contact. Each sensation leaves the aftertaste of meaning upon the mind. That leaves the taste within the memory. Shall be examined. These are the sensations of what we speak. May we answer any brief queries before we leave this instrument? And then, of course, how can we make this instrument more comfortable? The Raw says, continue to consider the alignments. You are conscientious and aware of the means of caring for this instrument in its present distortion. That means in its present discomfort. She's got, her legs are cramping because of the positioning. I am raw. I leave you, my friends, in glorious love and joyful light of the infinite creator. Go forth, then, rejoicing in the power and the peace of the one infinite creator, Adonai. We continue with section 65. It was dated August 8th, 1981. I am raw. I greet you in love and in the light of the one infinite creator. We communicate now. The questioner says, I may be recovering. Okay, so he's saying, I'm about to ask a question that I've already asked. Forgive me. I may be recovering a little ground already covered today, but I am trying to get a more clear picture of some things that I don't understand, and possibly develop a plan of my own for activity in the future. I have the impression that in the near future, the seeking will increase by many who are now incarnate in the physical on this planet. Their seeking will increase because they will become more aware of the creation as it is and as it is opposed, I might say, to the creation of man. Their orientation and their thinking will be, by catalyst of what unique nature, reoriented of thinking of more basic concepts. Shall I say, is this correct? I am raw. The generalities of expression can never be completely correct. However, we may note that when faced with a hole in the curtain, an entity's eyes may well peer for the first time through the window beyond. This tendency is probable given the probability vortexes active within your space-time and time-space continua at this nexus. The questioner says, I have assumed that the reason why so many wanderers and those harvest third density entities would have been transferred here is a privilege and exceptionally beneficial time to be incarnate upon this planet in the effects that I just spoke of, that give them opportunity to be more fully of service because of the increased seeking. Is this, in general, correct? I am raw. This is the intention which wanderers have prior to reincarnation. The divine wants me to read that again. I am raw. This is the intention which wanderers have prior to incarnation. There are many wanderers whose dysfunctions with regards to the planetary ways of your people have caused, some to great extent, a condition to be caught up in a configuration of mind complex activities, which, to the corresponding extent, may prohibit the intended service. The questioner says, I notice that you are speaking more slowly than usual. Is there a reason for this? I am wrong. This instrument is somewhat weak, and although strong in vitality and energy and well able to function at this time, is somewhat more fragile than the usual condition we find. We may note a continuing bearing of the physical distortion you call pain, which has a weakening effect upon physical energy. In order to use the considerable store of available energy without harming the instrument, we are attempting to channel even more narrow band than is what our want. The questioner says, I have properly analyzed the condition that creates the possibility of greater service as follows. Seniority by vibration of incarnation has greatly polarized those upon the surface of the planet now, and the influx of wanderers has greatly increased the mental configuration towards things of a more spiritual nature. This would be, I assume, one of the factors creating the better atmosphere for service. Is this correct? I am raw. This is correct. The questioner says, Would the coming changes as we progress into fourth density, such as changes in the physical third density planet due to the heating effect, and changes such as ability of people to perform what we term paranormal activities, act as catalysts to create a greater seeking? I am wrong. This is partially correct. The paranormal events occurring are not designed to increase seeking, but are manifestations of those whose vibratory configurations enable these entities to contact the gateway to intelligent infinity. These entities capable of paranormal service may determine to be of such service on a conscious level. This, however, is a function of the entity and its free will, not the paranormal ability. The correct the divine says, slow your roll. I'm getting excited. The correct proportion of your statement is greater opportunity for service due to the many changes, which will offer many challenges, difficulties, and seemingly distresses within your illusion to many who then would seek to understand, if we may use the misnomer, the reason for the malfunctioning of the physical rhythms of their planet. Moreover, there exists probability / possibility vortexes which spiral towards your bellicose action. Many of these vortexes, and it's spelled VORTICES, are not of the nuclear war, but of the less annihilatorily, right? Annihilatorily, but more lengthy, so-called conventional wars. This situation, if formed in your illusion, would offer many opportunities for seeking and for service. Back to you, Marcus.
What I really love about this level of knowledge is that, bless you, is that what I'm about to say is like, it can help dissolve so much attachment and so much needing to know, and also maybe just confusion about existence as a whole. And what I'm getting to is that when you start to really deep dive into this type of knowledge that is whole, and when I mean whole, it basically validates all experiences and all of existence. And through that, it really helps, especially for me, to dissolve attachment, division, separation, fake versus real, or if it's reality and not reality, if dreams are more real than this life, or if this life is more fake than the dreams. And what's really beautiful is that this kind of knowledge, and this is how you know it's part of the law of one, so to say, is that it helps you really streamline your psyche. And what I mean by streamline your psyche is, instead of being so fractured and divided up within the psyche, seeing everything as separate, seeing this as good or bad, or this is real and this isn't real. It brings me to a state where I start to now see things as the observer as, okay, this third dimension, this physical reality that we can conceive with our physical senses, it's not all there is to existence. And it's one plane of many multidimensional planes that exist, all simultaneous and are all existing. So with that, I can't really explain exactly how, but for me, it brings relief to my being, because, I'm no longer feeling like I'm in this box of the third dimension, and that anything outside the third dimension is either too far out there, fantasy, or crazy, if you believe in it. And, I used to always think for a while, like, what is the dream world? Like, is the dream world literally just like how it's portrayed to us since kids? Is it just like this made up fantasy world that doesn't exist and has nothing to do with our existence and our actual being? And it's just a dream, quote unquote. But when you start learning about this kind of knowledge, you start to get a definition of what that dimension is that the dreams are taking place in. And then you also start learning that it's a parallel existing reality that is existing just as much as this one is existing. And then you start learning, oh, so when my mental consciousness is in that dream world that we call it, quote unquote, which can also be called the fourth dimension, I am in a fourth dimensional embodiment through the focus of my mental consciousness when I'm resting my physical body on my bed. It's not that I'm leaving this real world body to go into something that just is a complete fantasy and has no context to the existence of it. It's just that my mental conscious awareness is now being transported to focus in that fourth dimension dream world, as we call it. And now I'm doing things there, and they exist just as much as they do here, while my physical body, parallel at the same time, is in this physical world regenerating and healing in homeostasis and REM cycle. Man, when I started really putting those dots together and began to dissolve those barriers of separation within my psyche, it brought me to a whole different place of peace, abundance, divine beauty of what we're in, to realize that that is how multidimensional we are. Like, that is how amazing, extraordinary, and sophisticated each and every one of us are as beings here on this planet. That we get to exist mentally through our mentalism, through multiple different dimensions, all the way up to the 12th, before we break into the sound barrier. And we get to mentally fluctuate through these different dimensions at our free will. Some of us are doing it consciously, some of us are doing it unconsciously. And it's ever moving. So when I started really learning more about this type of knowledge, like the Kabbalion, the raw material, the Emerald Tablets, the Sophia Codes, Mary Magdalene's teachings, she talks all about these things as well. It again, it brought me a lot of peace, it brought a lot of abundance to my being, because then it started becoming like you're validating more of your own self. You're validating more of who you are as existing and who you are as a multidimensional being by not shutting off parts of your aspects and just dismissing them as fake or a complete crazy out there fantasy thing. And then when you dig deeper into that and you become more accepting of your multidimensionality, then you're able to step more into that controller space of your multidimensional being through that acceptance of becoming maybe a little bit more, I guess the word could be lucid, so to say. And what I mean by being more lucid is now instead of being so mentally bound to this third dimensional world as everything that exists for you, it's now you're observing and seeing things as, oh, I exist with a third dimensional body, but I also exist in the fourth dimension and the fifth dimension and other dimensions as well. And with that being said, there's ways I can tap into those different dimensions of myself. And there's things I can access and work with consciously as I continue to develop and go upon this journey with myself in this universe. It's very fascinating. And now a lot of us are dream weavers, or a lot of us astral project and astral travel. And we do things consciously in those dimensions. And then what we do in those dimensions, we then draw back into our subconscious and bring it into this manifested world. So I just wanted to share that because I'm sure there may be a lot of us out there that have just been really curious, like, you know, what are dreams, or what is real and what's actually fake? And for me, especially as a Gemini, I always have a way to try to see that balance of everything, and that it doesn't have to be just about real or fake. It could just be that it all is, and that it all has its own existence, its own purpose, and there's a way to consciously interact and have a relationship with it as it is who we are in this existing matrix. Ooh, wow. Let's take a moment to digest. And hydration check for everybody out there. Make sure you guys are hydrating and drinking that clean water. Back to you.
Hydration check. Check, check. Checkity check. I'm going to share one more time why I like both books, The Raw Material and The Divine Design. The raw materials gave me overviews of things that were happening because Raw, the collective Raw, did not want to give more information that would usurp our ability of free will. But things were going on at that time that Raw was overseeing, and they were overseeing us. They did not go anywhere. They may have physically left at 14,000 years ago, and that's just time based on what they gave us, but millennia ago, and they stayed in their cosmic ship and oversaw us. Where our growth and our expansion was going to be, when was going to be the proper time to connect with us again. Things were going on physically and spiritually, dimensionally and physically on planet Earth, as planet Earth consciousness, planet Earth being her body, as she was shifting and evolving. The divine design helped me understand what the things that Ra couldn't say. I understood that things that were actually happening 14,000 years ago of choices and of situations and circumstances that were being chosen by higher beings that were coming in and actively having having playtime with Earth consciousness on planet Earth at this time, and what their journeys were about. See, we human beings, we look outside of us and we say those are aliens. Those are just higher beings from a different realm of the divine coming in, invited into play. Whether you call them Arcturians or reptilians or whatnot, they were invited to come play. They were invited to take human bodies and be part of the experiment of shifting and evolving in a human form. They just decided, which they got to choose, how they wanted to do it. Some came and said, we want to be part of it, but we don't want to take on human form. We want to be part of consciousness of whatever we choose. If I choose to believe in angels, then that consciousness comes in and it becomes the consciousness of my angel in my story. It's part of the divine from a different dimension, whether it's a dimension in time or a whole planetary solar system that's out, that we believe is outside of us. They came to play just like we did. They came to be our story. We gave them permission. Some of them took it a little bit too far, but the divine design gave me a blow by blow or a play by play of everything that was happening as Ra was giving the information to the questioner without usurping our free will to make choices. For me, it explained that aliens had a part in our journey story, and how they had that part in our journey story that the Bible wasn't mentioning. But I knew at a young age that there was more. All Ra is doing is giving you that information without usurping your free will. Without changing your ability to direct your destiny or create your destiny. So whether it's the divine design or raw materials or the or any other books or even the Bible, the Torah, whatever, our ability to make a choice means that we get to have a discernment moment. And all this information is put out there for you to discern for your highest and greatest good, for your growth and your expansion. We know, at least I know, I can't say you know, I don't know if Marcus knows, but I know that Earth consciousness has shifted at least twice since 2000, I believe, 17. Fourth density and fifth density. And she calls herself a she. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. That vibrates with me. That she's shifting and evolving, and she's waiting for us. But we don't have to die to do that. I finally get that. It's an awareness of being aware that I'm in a consciousness, and my consciousness is moving. It's gaining momentum, and it's growing and expanding. So sometimes I may walk through a portal, and it may look exactly the same as my 3D world, but something is a little off that lets me know I'm looking at this through 4D, and it just moved me. That's all Ra is saying. Ra is telling the questioner, okay, you can be basic, but there's more. There's possibility, there's probability / possibility, and then there's possibility / probability. You get to choose. It's your journey. It's your choice. Nobody, like my mother used to say, can take your joy. You can give it away. Nobody can stop your shine. You can just not shine. Their intention may be so you shine less, but what's your intention? What's your possibility for you? There are some people that live only in a straight line. But just because they do you? Change is the only constant in all of this journey, all of this story. And you get to do it all the time. You get to change the parameters. You get to see stuff so totally different. Some stuff that in third density, when you were in third density consciousness, seeing it through your physical eyes, used to matter so much, used to drive you nuts. And now there are things, well, you've moved in and you're seeing it through your fourth density consciousness, and that shit doesn't faze you. It still exists. And how dare I tell somebody else who's living 3D and seeing 3D that it doesn't exist? That's not my job. My job is service to others. So maybe I just care a little bit more that they're concerned about that and that they're scared. And I just care enough to say it'll be okay. But maybe they're not ready to hear why they'll be okay. They're not there yet. Don't worry, you'll be okay. Remind them of a time where something else almost like this happened, and you're here now because it got okay. You survived it. That's all Ra is saying. And the Divine Design is not the only book that gives the basics of what was happening in the 4,500 year span of what was going on back then, as different entities were coming into play. How they were setting up shop. Why did they set up shop? Because they were given free will to come in and play. And Earth consciousness said to the divine, to the essence of itself, let them play. Until Earth consciousness made a call and said, they're hindering my shifting abilities. I'm shifting downward. I wanted to shift to 5D and up. She made a clarion call. And the divine said, let it be so. And the call went out amongst the dimensions and galaxies that are part of the essence of the divine. And the call was answered twice. That made so much sense to me. And this is what Ra is sharing in their information. If the right questions are asked, not right, Not like he's at the questioner is asking wrong questions. If the questions are asked in the right way, so it doesn't usurp free will choice of man or humankind. Back to you, Marcus.
Wow. I feel like I say wow every single time. Oh man. I could make a highlight reel of how many times you've read something and then spoke. And then you say, back to you, Marcus. And I'm just like, wow. Oh, it just speaks for itself. You know, I don't really react too much to information and knowledge that I come across just because of just all that I study and dive into and practice every day. But man, when Raw has me saying wow every single time, it really speaks volumes to myself of how much, this is a good one, how much we can always learn, no matter how much we think we know. And with that, I am grateful to forever be a student as well as a passer of knowledge while in these dimensions. And another thing that's really given me a lot of relief from my ego even is letting go of claiming knowledge or letting go of trying to safeguard knowledge, thinking that I am the only one or a select group or only specific individuals know or have knowledge or have access to it, when it is everything. It's what we're existing in. It is what is making up our being to be able to be concepted, even to be. So it's all of us, you know? And with that, I'm just really grateful and just filled with the support and love of our ancestors and all of our wonderful, wonderful guides to just really allow free will to be at play. Free will for, of course, myself, but free will for everybody else. And to allow, you know, my inner yellow light, my inner solar plexus, that gold ray energy to shine. Shining our light was the card that we pulled today. And through all that I shared today about the psychological, the ways of awareness, finding relief in this universal connection that we're in, all of it adds up to help me to be able to shine my light even more into this world, knowing that I am guided, that I am always eternally connected to the source as the source, creating and experiencing itself through many forms, and that we are given this beautiful intergalactic karmic council that looks out for us while we're in this incarnation to help make sure we stay steered into the timelines of light. So ultimately, we can't forever stay trapped in our lower density, in the shadow matrix, so to say. I mean, with that, I really see why now. You know, we talk about finding faith, you know, finding trust, and being given this kind of information and knowledge. This almost like makes blind faith turned into very tangible faith, because now it's like,
Exactly.
you know, what am I being faithful of? Like, how am I supposed to feel secure and trust in this human journey with all that's going on in the world, all of the confusion, all of the wars, all of the battling, all of the death, all of the lies, all the manipulation, all these things, and how we can even do all those things our own self too. And to know that despite all of it, there are beings, dimensions, councils, and other creations in this existence that are in place to make sure that we are able to continue our ascension journey.
Yes,
and make our way. Uh-oh. Is it chopping out? Uh-oh. Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you now. Just like the commercial. Can you hear me now? I can hear you now.
But yeah,
but not a but. I'm going to say add an and to that everything that has gone on or that is going on right before the pendulum has swung for every civilization that has come and gone. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here right now. Right? Here we are. Growth, expansion. We're here. We're growing. And you know, choices, and some people have made choices to service to self, and some people have made choices to service to others, and here we are. So we got a lot of loud things going on in the world. Now, if you focus on them and you take your energy and you give that energy to and you give that energy to that what you consider negative, then you're supplying your energy for that. Let me tell you, the powers that be know everything about energy. They know how to use it. They've been doing it a long time. They know how to use it to control. They know how to use it to change narratives. They are not dumb. You cannot say. They know their higher beings chose service to self only at the cost of all others. That's part of the playground. You get to abdicate and go, I got free will. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to see it totally different. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist. It exists, but I'm not playing there. And then find out what and where you want to play. How do you want to? Scientists have figured out that we are atom bombs in these glorious bodies. We got that much energy. Where are you going to take your atom bomb, that's you, and go explode creation? That's all Ra is saying. Ra is saying this has happened so many times. You act, telling the questioner, you act like this is new, right? I watched a movie. It was called The Fifth Wave. I don't know if anybody's seen it, right? But there was a scene where there was this young man. He was out of high school. He was sitting in the interrogation room, and the other, who was the alien pretending to be a human or whatnot, and the young man says, the alien says, you're just like us. We have something, you have something we want. The reason why we're annihilating you is we want your planet, but we don't need you. I'm paraphrasing. And the young man says, we wouldn't have never done that to you. And the alien says, well, yeah, you've been doing it since the world's been here. You've been taking from others, all the time. This is why I say that when you're watching anything, movies, videos, reading books, listening to music, listening to lyrics, actually actively listen to find out where the divine is talking to you, speaking to you. We are every time the pendulum swings back, we have this ability to balance. But some of us, or maybe all of us at one time, allowed it to go all the way the other way, all the way the other extreme. Ra has told us about our 7 chakras, that we need to balance our energy because we've got everything in us to finish this journey. We came prepared. And all we have to look at is where the pendulum swung in our past and watch how it's swinging back. And do we want to stop it at mid-ground and say we want balance? Or we can let it swing all the way and go all the way the other way and go to an extreme. Growth and expansion is meant for us to happen. We came here to shift in a physical form with a conscious mind, to shift and evolve, and then wash, rinse, and fucking repeat. I want to thank you for being part of this Wednesday with us. Thank you for being part of the raw material review. Because that's all we're doing is we're reviewing it. Ra has been giving us this information for millennia. So I will see you. I hope we will see you. Same Ra time, same Ra channel. One love, wholeness, and balanced love.
Thank you, everybody. Episode 65, Sending Beyond Limitations, Raw Material Law of One. I am Marcus Christolight. Met is Sandy Marshall. I'm out of Ohio. She's out of California. Reach out if you have questions or if you would like some one-on-one guidance. For your mind, body, emotions, as we offer many different, or you guys can visit the website listen.to/Sacred Light Retreats. And I will go ahead and just put that on the screen for you guys real quick as we close, just so you can see how that is spelled. And there it is for you guys. Listen.to/Sacred Light Retreats. You can sign up for any of my retreats, including Sedona for the Lion's Gate next month, the Ascended Masters Nature Retreat in Ohio, the Drum Medicine Retreat, Shamanic Peruvian Retreat, and much more. See you guys next week. And also, tap in next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, for the next Soul Awakening with Sandra. What is the topic going to be for that next week?
It is going to be the law of action.
Ooh.
The law of action.
Nice.
The law
You're welcome,
of
Sam.
action. Right? Soul Awakening podcast. It's actually, there's 7 universal laws that we can embody. You go, embody. Yeah, embody. Know thyself. Just like Marcus says, embodiment is about going within you and finding out how you want the universal laws to create for you. Because they're listening and they're vibrating. They have a frequency that they're tuning in and tapping in to you. So if you're not getting what you want, what you put out, and you're getting something that's opposite of that, I guarantee you it's not the universe's fault. If we want to use the word fault, the vibration is with you. So we're on part 4 next Tuesday. We already did the manifestation, the law of manifestation. So go catch it in replay. Matter of fact, catch them all in replay. Bring yourself up to speed. Find out, do I need to dig deep into me to find out what I really want? Because I've been asking for some stuff, thinking that I really want it, and maybe you don't really want it. Maybe you wanted it because somebody else told you that's what you should do, or that's who you should be, or you just grew up that way with that storyline, you plugged into that storyline that isn't the narrative for you. Somebody else just said, lack is who you are. Really? I'm a lackful person? Because somebody told you money didn't grow on trees. So deep inside, you want abundance of dollars and cents. But every time you put that out there, you get more lack. Where are you vibrating? Go check that episode out. Go check part 3 out. And then we're going to talk about part 4. Action. Your action. My action. Marcus's actions. The whole world's action. That's what the divine, that's what 3D is vibrating off of. Right now, we've got over 8 billion active participants vibrating, emanating frequency. So check it out. Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check it out. And I've got other things coming, other things in the work. Soul Awakening podcast is also going to be doing guest spots as well. Working on that. YouTube is about to have an explosion of Soul Awakening of Sandra. Thank you for joining us.
Wholeness and balanced love. I will see you guys tomorrow in the Rising, 9 a.m. Eastern, Grand Rising with Christolight, as we explore the yellow flame, the golden order. See you guys then.
Get your tickets now for a rare, one-of-a-kind, multi-dimensional Lionsgate 8/8 retreat coming up in Sedona, Arizona at Camp Avalon, hosted by Marcus Christolight of Sacred Light from 8/6 to 8/9. Experience the powerful Lionsgate 8/8 portal, amplified by Sedona's legendary vortex energy. This retreat is your chance to align mind, body, and spirit during a time of deep awakening and transformation. Join Christolight for chakra balancing, Sarah for herbalism, Yuga for qigong, Aliyah for ecstatic dance, and Cher for orgonite technology, plus more healing flow shops with expert guides. Enjoy hiking Sedona's stunning landscapes, nourishing plant-based meals, and camping under the stars with a conscious community. Step into a safe, sacred space to connect, heal, and discover your multidimensional self. Embrace self-empowerment, vulnerability, and community as you shed old layers and awaken to your highest potential. Tickets: $188 for 1 day, $333 for 2 days, or $444 for all 3 days. Payment plans available. Register now with the link in the description or text Marcus at 513-238-5580 to reserve your spot.
(2023) Mother Gaia, third dimensional planet, ascending. Thank you from the Sacred Light Broadcast Network and Sacred Light Productions for tapping in and tuning in to all live and replay content, holistic, conscious, for your empowerment. Tap in to the Christ light within. Please like, share, and subscribe. And remember that you are the one that you have been looking for. Enjoy this content. If you would like to collaborate or receive production through myself, Marcus Christolight, direct message or email me at marcustut23@gmail.com to discuss details. Wholeness and balanced love. Ashe.